Hello and welcome to episode 121 of the HaskinCast Podcast. I am your host, Scott Haskin, and if you read the title of this episode, you may be as excited to listen to it as I am to bring it to you. I was so fortunate to be able to secure a little bit of time with my guest today. I was trying to think of when in my life I came into contact with Uriah Heep, and I had thought it was between the ages of like 13 and 14, somewhere in there. But I actually realized just moments ago that it was a little bit earlier. It was actually, I must have been 10. I remember seeing a video for a song called That's the Way That It Is. It was from the Abominog album, and that came out in 82. And so I'm thinking it had to be around that time. So I'm creeping up on 50 now, so I've been listening to them for a long time, almost as long, well, not quite as long as they've been around, but I have been around almost as long as they have been around. I have then gone on to get to their back catalog and go through all their other albums, and it has just been quite a journey that I've spent with these guys. And I've had the opportunity to see them live a couple times when they've been here in Vegas. I had not heard of them touring in the States before, so I was very excited to go see them, and their live show is amazing. The energy on stage, the joy that you just feel from these guys, they genuinely enjoy performing, and it just wafts off the stage and just, surrounds you like a heavy perfume almost. It's such an intoxicating thing to see a band that just enjoys what they do that much. It's really cool. And I have to apologize to Mick because in the interview, you'll hear me ask him a question about, songs like The Magician's Birthday, which are rather lengthy. And can you get away with doing songs like that today? And he pointed out that on their newest album, Livin' the Dream, there is a song called Rocks in the Road. And when I look at the song, it is 8 minutes and 18 seconds. That is a very lengthy song for people's attention span these days. But I didn't realize that the song was even that long. It doesn't seem like it. It seems like it's maybe 4.5 or 5 minutes. It just flies right by. So when I ask, can you get away with a song like this? Well, we just did one. Well, yeah, I just didn't realize it because it really does not feel like it's that long. So apologize for not being more knowledgeable, especially on the most recent album, which I've listened to I don't know how many times. It's fantastic. Go pick it up. We also talk about my favorite song on the album, which is called Dreams of Yesteryear. Just a beautiful song. It gets me every time I listen to it. Like so many of their songs do. There's bands that you can listen to and go, yeah, I get where they're going, or I understand the story or whatever. There's so many of their songs that I feel like I've lived with them. And that's such an important difference. And I think that's why this is one of the main bands that I cling on to. So with all that out of the way, I just have to say that Mick is somebody that has been in the business a long time, seen so many things, probably has just so many memories and stories and things in his head. But I've never once read or heard a single negative thing about him. Not once, not in interviews, ex-bandmates, current bandmates, even, different articles I've read, nothing, not one thing. And that really says a lot about him and a lot about the way the band works. And thanks again, Mick, for coming on the show. So without further ado, I'm going to shut up now and just bring you my interview with Mick. Here it is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am very excited to bring my next guest onto the show. He has been the foundation of Uriah Heep for the last 50 years. And celebrating their anniversary, they are coming out with an amazing box set like you've never seen before. Let's welcome to the show guitarist and wah pedal extraordinaire, Mick Box. Mick, how are you?
I'm doing fine, my friend. How's everyone?
It's a little early here in the States, but man, I'm happy to be talking to you. I've had the pleasure of seeing you guys live here in Vegas a couple times over the last few years. And man, you guys know how to put on a show.
Well, it's what we do and it's what we love doing. So, we've still got a passion for what we do. And I think that shows through in the live show and everything that we do, to be honest.
It does. I mean, even from the time you guys walk out, there is just there's just an energy that you guys bring onto the stage. And even when you're singing a sad song or an intense song, there's just so much joy coming from you guys. I've never really felt anything quite like it.
Oh, well, that's kind of you to say that, but I think, the passion is always the word that I use, because it's something, we believe in, and I think that comes through when you're recording an album, when you're writing songs and in respect of what we do.
Absolutely. And why would you continue to spend your life on the road if it wasn't something you love doing?
Well, absolutely. But, it's it's really funny because people say you get tired of the road, and of course we do. But, once you're on that stage, everything's forgotten. And the adrenaline kicks in, the fans are with you, the arms are going in the air. It's just amazing.
Yeah, there's really, unless you've been on the stage and played in front of a crowd, there's really no way to get anyone to understand what that feel is like.
Absolutely.
Congratulations on 50 years. There's so few bands that have been able to sustain that length, even though there's been obviously member changes and things over the years. I'm really excited about this box set.
Yeah, well, me too. I mean, it's a great milestone, isn't it? 50 years is just absolutely amazing. I mean, when we first started out, I never thought I'd ever get to that. I'm so happy we have, and we've achieved something, as you say, a lot of people haven't, but, that's just fantastic. It's a feather in our cap.
For certain. If I understand correctly what is included, it's every studio album plus Live in 73. And then there are 4 additional discs. One was decided by each original member, one by you, one by Paul Newton, one by Ken Hensley, and one by Lee Kerslake. These are your favorite songs that are on a collection. And then there's the LP of Magician's Birthday that's been remastered, 2 art cards, which I believe are Magician's Birthday and Demons and Wizards, and then a beautiful 64-page booklet, all released by BMG, coming out in October. Do I have it right?
You do have it right. I think there might be an Abominog album card, art card in as well. Oh. I think they've little bits and pieces, but yeah, that's just about it. It's great. It's really good. It's a really good package, and it's a great testament to the 50 years that we've been playing music.
Oh, for certain. Did you, I don't know how often you listen to the old stuff other than, say, prepping a song for playing it live. Was it a good nostalgia trip for you to go back and go through some of these older songs?
Oh, 100%. It was, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, this is my life.
Yeah.
It was just an amazing, but it was a very full one. And, sometimes I'm sitting there going, well, that's really, really good. It kind of surprised me because, you do things in the moment and you leave it, you never visit again, but with something like this coming out, I had to listen to quite a lot of the 49 years other than Living the Dream, if you like, our last studio album. And it's just a wonderful journey, It's a really roller coaster ride and but a very enjoyable one.
Oh, yeah. I remember I had been in touch with Ken Hensley many years ago, and I had asked him about one of the songs that he had written, and he couldn't remember it. And I thought, how do you not remember a song you wrote? But I was a very young songwriter. I'd probably written 30 songs at the time. Now there's so many. Do you look back at the titles and go, how did this go again?
I mean, if we choose a track that we're going to revisit, I go back and I go, what the hell was I doing there? And you just have to revisit it and put your head on and light a few joss sticks and and get down to work. But it's quite surprising because obviously you develop as a player, so you go back to where you were back then, and it's really an interesting exercise, I have to say.
Do you nitpick some of your older playing and go, looking at as the player that you are now and go, I should have played that solo better, or what if I would have done this? Or are you able to go, that's where I was at the time?
I'm quite happy with it. It's a statement of where we were at the time, and that's fine by me. And that's the thing that goes into people's homes and they live with forever. So I'm with that. Yeah.
That's good. And I think obviously even where you guys started, you were pretty damn good musicians. So I wouldn't really look at anything and go, I could have done better, because I think you're great where you're at.
Yeah, I think you know, with the moment in time as well, you know, the 70s was a different creative time than there could ever be again in life. Because, you know, record companies used to sign with them for, you know, used to sign for 7 albums, you know, and you grew with the label grew with you. And there was a great creative input because of that. And that's why so many great albums and bands were around at that time in the 70s that have stood the test of time as well, I might add. So, yeah, you know, it's I would go back and change it all now.
Do you think, though, part of that comes from, I look at bands like Uriah Heep and Deep Purple and Emerson, Lake and Palmer and bands from that time, and I think that part of the success is because you guys wrote what you wanted, because there wasn't a record company saying, here's how you're going to play your music. I would think it would be harder.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think it would be harder now. Like it's you feel the honesty in it that I don't really get in today's music.
Yeah, but it's done with a lot of nowadays, isn't it? You know, and really a band is being in they're all playing at the same time on the same heartbeat, if you like, you know, the same pulse. And we had no such things as click tracks, you know. Quite often I feel that when a lot of people in search of perfection lose all the brilliant, valuable stuff behind, because they chip away at it to get something perfect, and all the great stuff that makes your stand up in your arm, and chills go through your spine. If you put perfect on that, it ceases to have that effect. You know, so I think nowadays, you know, that's where people are. You know, the first thing is put up click check. We don't, as Uriah Heep, like our last studio in the Dream, we actually went into the studio, and all the albums were done separately. For many years, we just go in and play. Mm-hmm. You know, and let it ride. And if it gets a bit speedy, that's great, because it's excitement. It's where it should be. You know, and I always say to a producer, I've said it many times, I said, look, if we choose a track, if it sounds that good now, it will sound that good forever. So why go and fiddle with it? Mm-hmm. That's you're going to shine it. You're going to shine it, but it isn't going to blind you. Leave it where it is, and it will blind you.
Absolutely. I think there's a difference between making something technically perfect and making it human and enjoyable.
Absolutely. That's why on our last studio album with Jay Ruston, our producer, he did a great job. He was really on that fine line. He kept all that heritage and everything, but he made it sound really great.
It does. From beginning to end, I think the mix is fantastic. I think that obviously the songwriting and the performances are fantastic. In fact, I wanted to ask you about Dreams of Yesteryear, the last song on the album. This one really, like every time I listen to it, it just kind of reaches in and grabs my heart. And it's such a powerful song. Do you have any memories or anything that you could share about how that one came together?
I do actually. We actually started a shuffle to begin with.
Really?
Funny enough, you know, a typical Heep shuffle, easy living type shuffle. Mm-hmm. And then when we went into pre-production, and Russ, our drummer, suggested, say, why don't we just try it? Because the melody's so nice, and you've got some nice guitar parts in there. Why don't we just try it as, you know, a bit more of a ballady type thing? And you know, obviously a good melody and will sound great whether they're fast, medium paced or very slow. You know, it always come true. But we tried it, and it started formulating very, very nicely. So we kept it in that tempo, and it really speaks really well. And I do remember it very well because, you know, lyrically, I wanted to get through. You know, like when I'm sitting at home or something, having a drink, and something triggers a memory back then, and it's always a good memory. And you never look at the bad stuff. It's always a good memory, and it gives you a nice warm glow in your heart, if you like, mm-hmm. in your being. And it's kind of that, the dreams of yesteryear, where those, and sometimes those thoughts get you through some of the hardships that you're approaching today.
Yes, that's so true. And
because you realise how good it was back then, you know.
Yeah, and I definitely feel that. And the dialogue, or the lyrics and the delivery of the lyrics, it's just such a powerful song. It's one of my favorite Heep songs. And that, I mean, obviously that spans a lot of songs to listen to.
No, well, that's fantastic, and of course the guitar repeat at the end, which is just a theme, but it kind of rides out into the sunset sort of thing, which is really cool too. Yeah, we like that.
That and the accompanying snare drum buzz rolls. I think that just kind of really just brought a nice dynamic to it instead of playing a beat through that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost a military thing, isn't it? But
yeah.
It just fits perfectly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like we're going to pass the torch to the next generation, but also we're not really ready to let it go either, and we're just going to keep doing what we do until we can't do it anymore.
It's my mantra.
Well, considering the energy that, after 50 years, the energy that you guys have on stage, it shows that there is no reason to not keep doing what you love doing.
We never look at those. We never put those roadblocks up. We're always looking for moving forward, doing shows in 62 countries that we play. We're recording a new album in February, so I'm busy writing songs for that with Phil, a keyboard player, and that's coming on really great. So, we're always forward thinking. As much as we're proud of our heritage and the 50 years that's behind us, we're always looking at creating more memories.
Mm-hmm. Do you find it hard to balance that, though? Every time a new album comes out, you want to play material from the new album. You've got to play some of the songs that people are expecting you to play. Could you get out of a show without playing Easy Livin'? Not with a happy crowd, probably.
No. I think to be real about it and understand this music in their lives for a long time, and it means so much to them. So we'll always play this. What as we travel around the world, we find out what the common denominators, I'm trying to say, are, and that would be like your Gypsy and your July Morning, Easy Livings, and even Lady in Black in some areas of the world is quite an important song for them. So it's you have to play those songs, but they're great songs, and they're a joy to play. People say to you, "Why do you ever get fed up playing them?" And to be honest, once you start the intro and you see the fifth and of people's face light up, it's like you're for the first time again.
Right. I think Steve Morse said it best with Smoke on the Water. Somebody asked him if he ever gets sick of playing it, and he says, if you could just press a button and make 30,000 people light up, wouldn't you press that button?
Exactly right.
Yeah.
He's got that. And he has that on the button.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's totally right. Yeah. It's right on the button. Is.
Yeah. I mean, even if you're having a night where you're kind of like, I don't really feel like playing Lady in Black, as soon as you start it up, the crowd's just going to explode.
I mean, it electrifies us, and that gives us the energy. And, us and our audience are one, we feed each other. Mm-hmm. And that's very important.
Oh, for sure. I think it's interesting, too, how the songwriting has changed over the years. I mean, you look at a song like Magician's Birthday and the length of it, you couldn't really get away with performing a new song like that now, but people will still accept the older songs that are that lengthy. Yeah,
well, we've been on our last album, we had a song, what was it called now? Rocks in the Road, mm-hmm. which is quite a lengthy song that travels through various musical pieces. And it's very much in the Magician's Birthday mold in terms of, not lyrically at all, but in terms of, it's a journey. Mm-hmm. And people have been loving it, so we do still enter those areas of, we would call that progressive rock, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say so. And it's a great song, too. It's one of those songs that I kind of wish was another 20 minutes longer. I would still listen to it.
Yeah, we really enjoyed it, because we got the song written and then we let it grow, and with all the various musical passages. And we just, this one goes there, this goes there, this goes there. And we do everything naturally. We don't pre-plan anything. So, write, a progressive song, a 3-minute song, a hit or whatever, we just let our music just evolve. And that one just evolved into that piece of music, which is, a lot of people love. Which goes back to what I was saying earlier. If you're writing naturally and you're writing what you feel, it's always going to come out the best if you're being true to that. No, 100%, yeah. Because if you start and write to a format, it never works. Right. It never really works. Everything in Heep done naturally. Mm-hmm. Certainly if I'm driving the force. Now, I wanted to ask you, I remember hearing that back in the early days, you guys used to share a rehearsal space with Deep Purple. We did. It was in a place called Acton in London, and it was called the Hamwell Centre.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of two big halls back to back, where they held various functions in that area, assembly halls. And so, Purple were in one and we were in the other. So it was a hell of a racket. But it was good fun. We never heard what they were doing. They never heard what we did. It was too immersed in what we were doing in each band's various rooms. But the fact was, we were very close there. Yeah.
Wow.
And a lot of good stuff come out of that.
Oh yeah, that was such a great era in music too. So what album would this have been for you guys? Very Humble, Very Heavy?
Yeah, that would turn into Very Heavy, Very Humble. Yeah.
Oh wow, so this is really the beginning of Heep, just changing over from Spice.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Okay, so is that where, when you say, it's the 50-year anniversary, is that where you're counting it from the name change, or what perspective are you looking at?
We're actually looking at it from release of the first album.
Okay.
Because, although we'd finished, or we were recording just before the end of 1970, we hadn't really released the album and had the name change. So I think that was the right decision to call 1970 as our start. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, that's fair. One thing that I find really interesting is if you listen to albums that were coming out back in that era, every one of them had a distinct sound to that album because you're recording in different studios, different equipment. Each album had a sound personality to it. And it seems like nowadays, because everything's so technologically perfect, a lot of albums just seem like, you could release 2 or 3 albums and they could have been from the same session. Do you miss that album personality thing that we used to have?
Oh, a million percent. I also think it goes back further. I think it goes back to the musicians, to be honest,
mm-hmm.
because when the big four in England were the Deep Purple, Led Zeppelin, Uriah Heep, Black Sabbath. But if you look at the individual players, I mean, I didn't play anything like Richie Blackmore. I didn't play like Tony Iommi. I didn't play like, and on it went and on it went. And every guitarist was individual. Every bass player was individual. Every drummer was individual. The keyboard player and every vocalist was individual. And some of those parts gave the flavour to each band. So what you're saying is absolutely correct. That flavour then is taken into the studio, and you got an album of the character of that band. Nowadays, if you just take guitarists, for instance, they go into a school, say, through the front door, and they come out 2 years later, incredible guitar, but they're playing.
Mm-hmm.
There's no attention that 2 year period to anyone, developing anyone's individuality, and that's what's missing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, nowadays you can take one person out of one band, throw them in another, and you wouldn't even know the difference. But back then, you'd notice a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the individuality.
Very true. If I were to hear a song that I hadn't heard from an album in the 70s era, I would know which album it came from just by the tonality of the song. If I heard Sunrise, I would know it came from Sweet Freedom, for example. And I think you don't get that nowadays. Everything's just here's how we EQ it. Here's how we record it. It's just too pristine every time.
Yeah, everybody's following the same path. That's the thing, And then there's an acceptance industry as to how you buy music, how you hear music, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Now. I mean, we go in it's really funny. We go in the studio, we spend a stupid money because we still believe in what we do in the studio to record something audibly the best we could ever get. And then it all gets squashed down into an MP3 player and people buy it that way.
Yeah.
It's really weird, isn't it? But, we can't stop ourselves doing that because that's what we believe in and we think this is the way it should be. But lots of people start with the MP3 head on, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
That's their starting point.
And that's the frustrating thing, because you can put out a great sounding record, but if I'm listening through a pair of cheap earbuds through my phone, I'm not going to get the dynamics of that album. I'm not going to get the richness of it. But if I listen to it in my studio speakers, which most people don't have, it's a whole different experience. I really think that we're destroying
100%.
our listening experience.
We're missing it so much. And the other thing that's missing too is the when you release an album, generally there's a lead track off every album in the world that people get attracted to that album for. You know what I mean? It's just the standout track to people. But within that album, there's other songs that are growing. The immediate song will fall to the wayside, and these ones will stay with you for the rest of your life. We never get to that point now.
Mm-hmm.
We get to the immediate song, that gets played, it gets a little bit of airplay, disappears into the ether, and on we go. On to the next one. You know, you never... It's very difficult for an album band to be a band now because they're just looking for the one track.
Right. Yeah, that's very true. And because everything has changed with the way that record companies work, the way that touring has worked, I'm still glad that you guys are putting out albums and not focused on being a singles band.
I believe in myself that way. You know, I look to the future. I'm too positive to want to move forward with everything. You know, I mean, writing a new album, writing new songs just energizes me to continue anything else. So that has to be.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with that more. Now, with the box set, what versions of the albums are we getting? Are we getting the original studio releases? Are they remastered or bonus tracks, or is it just the flat original cut?
As far as I understand, it's the original cut, but they may have remastered them. I can't answer that question 100%.
Okay.
But definitely, I think they're pretty true to the original one, I assume.
Well, it's certainly plenty of music to listen to. 23 CDs.
Oh, mate,
that's a lot.
You can lose a few hours there. You can lose a few hours.
I would consider it time well spent. So,
well, thank you.
I wanted to ask you, obviously you guys aren't touring as just about everybody else is, but I really wanted to thank you for putting out a shirt to support your crew. Mine just arrived the other day. Deep Purple did that as well. I hope that's a trend that other bands will start working towards, because you guys are out of work, but so is your crew.
Well, 100%. As Uriah Heep, we are one team, band and crew. We travel together. We stay in the same hotels together. We eat together. We are a team. So it's very important for us to acknowledge the fact that they haven't any earnings. So we made a T-shirt that buy and we donate the money to the. I mean, it's not going to buy them a house.
Right.
It might not even buy them a meal. But it's a gesture that that they understand that we're a team, and a good investment in your crew is the best thing you can ever do, because, sometimes when we're out on the road, it can get really, really hard and difficult. And if they feel part of that team, they'll go the extra mile for it. They'll have everything set when you walk out on that stage, no matter what the hardships are to get there and get that done. Yeah. And that's the spirit. That's the spirit we live in, So we're a team. It's not band and crew. It's one team.
Yeah, that's so important. I mean, just taking care of people in general, but especially those that look after you as well, is so vital in this world. So I really appreciate that. It says a lot about the band and a lot about the people that you are. So I'm really looking forward to this box set. It's due out sometime in October. And man, if you guys are even interested in Uriah Heep, just get it. It's not just the door; it's the palace.
That's It is a good package. It's a lovely package, and there's some great music there from a lot of really great musicians. I'm not counting that, but there's some really great musicians and writers and songs, and it really is. It's become a part of history now. It's 50 years. Happy days.
Yes, and I haven't seen the track list, but I'll be very curious to see which songs each of you picked as your favorites. This will be fun.
Well, do you know what? I can give you a little insight on that, because it was quite funny, because I was asked to do that, and I thought, well, it's quite obvious that everyone else is going to choose the same tracks. So I thought, well, that'd be pretty boring, wouldn't it? So I actually chose tracks that lesser known tracks, if you like.
Right, like deeper cuts.
I didn't go for the obvious. I went for the deeper cuts because I felt that would be a better listen to people, because I was convinced the others would obviously use the hits we play. So I took another route on it. So if mine looks a bit different, it's because I went cut.
Well, that's how it should be, though. It should be the ones that, obviously the ones that you are known for are going to be kind of just givens. And this should be, this song really means something to me. And I've forgotten about this one, but reliving it made me want to put it on here. So I'm glad you did that. But if I get this and I find that Easy Living is on your CD, we're going to have a talk.
I can't even remember if I did.
Well, we'll find out soon enough.
I can stop you making that phone call. 80% of what is deep cuts.
There you go. Well, Mick,
the other 20% I can't remember.
Fair enough. Well, Mick, I cannot thank you enough for coming by the show. I wish you guys the greatest success. I'm already looking forward to this new album that you're going to record in February. I'm sure it's going to be great. Love to the guys, and can't wait to see you guys get back on tour and come back and see us in Vegas.
Thank you, my friend. Happy days, and thanks for your support. And everyone out there, thank you for your support. You know, it means the world to us. And hopefully when this pandemic's disappeared, we can come out and see it again and rock on down.
We will be waiting.
We'll rock down.
You take care, my friend.
Thanks, my friend. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, you see what I mean? I mean, what a great guy. He's brilliant. He's articulate. He's passionate. He believes in himself. He believes in his band. He's very generous with his time, very generous with his fans. I mean, you can't say enough about this guy. And on top of it, he's a brilliant writer, an unbelievably talented guitarist. Definitely someone I think who's really kind of gone under the radar, at least in the United States, as really Uriah Heep has. So go check out that box set. I don't have the link to it yet because it's not available, but that will be next month. I'll shoot out something in my email blast about it. And yeah, thanks for coming with me on the journey of speaking with Mick. Thank you, Mick, for coming on the show. I will be back next week with another show. I think I'll air the second half of my interview with April. So tune in next week. In the meantime, very happy. Cheers, guys.